Hello everyone, I hope you are well. In today's video, we will do a crash course about ChatGPT. But before starting, did you watch my previous video in which I talked about how to create system design diagrams using draw.io? If you are new here, I am Hassan and I post tutorials on this channel. If you might be interested in watching those videos, consider subscribing to the channel. If you have any questions, comment now on this video. Now we are going to start crash course of ChatGPT. So in the first part, we are going to talk about how can we generate code comments using ChatGPT. First of all, open ChatGPT. I have opened mine and you should have some code so you can generate comments of that code part. So I have a Spring Boot project example. This is actually a full project. I'm just using an example of a controller. So I'm going to copy the code of the controller and just paste it in ChatGPT to see what is going on with this code. Furthermore, I don't know about this code, what it's doing right now. So I'm going to see every line and check everything with ChatGPT so that I can understand the code correctly. You have to just paste the code right here and ask ChatGPT to regenerate the code with the comments line, and with each of the line it should have a comment line and explaining each and everything. So here is the prompt, regenerate the code snippet below, but please include comments to each line of code. So it will add comments to each line of the code. Let's see what we get. I'm going to press enter. So guys, we have the result here and ChatGPT added those lines, those comment lines here. You can see that. So these are the libraries. So it just added the comment line import required packages. But if you want to know what these libraries are doing, you can ask ChatGPT to add each line of code to these added libraries. So I'm going to ask ChatGPT to do this and see what we get. So here's the prompt, add comments to each one of the library imported in this code. So this means we will get comment lines added here before the addition of each library. So I'm going to press enter and see what we get. So here's the response of the ChatGPT and it added all the comments to each of the library. You can see that it added to student service library, and in the last we have this library student service here. So it added all the comments to each of the library we added there, and it explained very well so we can understand what this is library imported for. So let's see what it added to the code. So here it defines the contrast controller and the base URL path for all methods in this class, and this one is for inject the student service dependency, and it actually explained in detail for each of the line like this: map http get request to the URL path and retrieve the list of the courses for a specific student based on the student ID. So by doing this, you will get a roughly idea what the code is doing even without understanding the code, which does not have any common lines. So it's very easy for you now for getting a basic understanding about the code. Let's see another code which I have got in the project here. So it's just a student application.java file and it's very short. So let's see another one. So it's a little bit lengthy. I'm going to copy this code here and paste it into the ChatGPT, and I'm going to type the same prompt as I did before. So I'm going to copy that prompt and paste it here, and let's see what we get. I'm going to press enter. So guys, here is the result ChatGPT gave us. It automatically added the comment lines to the libraries because we asked before ChatGPT to add the comment line to the libraries too, so it did automatically. So it is very much better if you stay in the chat for your specific task so that it can learn what you want to do specifically, and so that it can provide you with a perfect result. So here it added all the comments lines to the libraries too, and for the code it added comment lines here too with a little explanation. You can ask ChatGPT to explain it more if you can't understand, and each of the line can also provide the details of the functions of hashing like .put method and string, and what are objects in here and what are mapping, and in this way you can understand a code without wasting your time. So now in the second part of this crash course of ChatGPT, we are going to talk about how can we generate code documentation using ChatGPT. So first of all, open ChatGPT. I have opened mine and you should have some code so you can generate documentation of that code. So I have a university project which is called the chain smokers problem. I'm going to copy it. You can also get it from internet. Also, I will give you the link of this code, a GitHub repository of this code. So I'm going to copy it and paste it right here. So you have to first of all type a prompt here. So you have to do exactly what I'm doing right now. Generate documentation for the code below. You should include detailed instructions to allow a developer to run it on local machine. So here is a prompt, and you should have the code here right below over the prompt. So now let's see what it gives us. I'm going to press enter here. So guys, here is the answer of the ChatGPT here. Let's go through the documentation which it generated. So if you see the prompt right there, we asked that you should include detailed instruction to allow a developer. So it generated the documentation with respect to a developer. So you can see that it tells you the usage, how we can run this program. It also tells us that we can use GCC compiler. It is a compiler in Linux. You can easily install it on your Linux or any Linux distribution. So here is the compiler name, then this is the object name, and this is the code file in which we have this code right here. And this is LP thread, which tells us that this program is using threads, and we have to add this flag while running this program. Furthermore, in functionality, it tells us that what is this program doing actually. It tells you the scenario happening in this code in detail and a very structured way. You can also ask ChatGPT to explain this code. So you just have to type explain what the code does. Let's see what it gives us. So here is the explanation. It told the explanation a little bit in the functionality, but it explained it in a detailed way after I entered this prompt. So it's actually doing the same thing in the functionality, but in a structured and a more detailed way. It's telling you that what are the semaphores doing here. Like for example, more needed and match paper and tobacco. These are the semaphores in the code here. You can see that these are the semaphores, and it actually telling us that what these are doing and what is the purpose of using semaphores in the chain smokers code. You can actually search for the chain smoker problem, and you can easily understand what is happening in this code and why we are making these types of logics. So let's move to the next prompt, which is to check for the vulnerabilities in the code. So you have to just type here list vulnerabilities that exist in the code. I'm going to press enter and see what we get. So here are the vulnerabilities that ChatGPT mentioned here. There are total 7, and these are race conditions, lack of input validation, lack of error handling, lack of resource cleanup, and system call usage. Last one is lack of thread safety. So now we have the vulnerabilities given by ChatGPT, and therefore we should optimize our code with the help of these vulnerabilities because we have identified these vulnerabilities. So now let's ask ChatGPT to modify the code and remove these vulnerabilities. So you have to type here optimize the code above and remove all the above mentioned vulnerabilities, and I'm going to press enter and let's see what we get. So guys, here is the result ChatGPT gave us. First of all, it mentioned the instructions how to remove the vulnerabilities, and then it provided the modified code to optimize the code that was written above. It couldn't complete it because this is a free version of ChatGPT and it has limited tokens for words, therefore it couldn't complete it. But you can complete it by giving chunks of code, so it can modify that code, modify that part or optimize that part without any limitations of the tokens. Furthermore, you can actually format the documentation which was generated first right here. You can see that these are the headings, description, dependencies, usage and functionality. But you can give your heading names and ChatGPT will just generate the documentation for that code which you will give, and you can modify that code with the documentation, and you can also ask ChatGPT to describe it more deeply and with more details. Let's talk about how can you debug your code using ChatGPT. So here let's look at this example of bubble sort. This code is generating a new file called sorted if not generated, and reading numbers from this list and sorting them. After sorting, it will count the number of swaps and number of comparisons. Let me show you the files that it will create. So these are the sample here, and it will generate new sample here. I'm going to run this to check what is the output right now. So number of swaps 5 and number of comparisons are 10. Let's check in the file. Sorry. So it's generating some symbols which are not readable. Let's ask ChatGPT to debug it. I'm going to copy this code first of all. So here it is, and paste it in the ChatGPT. Ask it to debug. Let's check what it gives us. So here is the ChatGPT's answer. It mentions all the errors that we had in previous code and also fixes them in updated version. Let's copy the code first of all, and let's check what it gives us. It added the file not found exception, also the number format exception, including IO exception. It added finally block. Also, it asks us to close the buffer reader because it was not there. Let's paste the code here. Have our code here. Now I'm going to run this file and check. First of all, I'm going to delete the samples from here, and then run the file here. Okay, these are the same, but check the real result. Okay, it's sorted here. You can see that. You can compare it by this. Let me open that too. You can see that it sorted the sample here. Now let's look another example in which I wrote a code about PDF generator. This code actually generates a PDF file and pastes this string to the file, but you can see that it have some errors. Now we will ask ChatGPT to solve these errors. I'm going to copy here and ask it to debug it. Let's check what it gives us. So you can see that here is the answer of ChatGPT. It tells us that the code does not have a null pointer exception, or I'm not handling anything for null exception. So it added all the exceptions, which this type of exception which have all exceptions. Now I'm going to copy this code and paste it there to see if these errors are gone or not. So here is another error. Now I'm going to run it to check what's the error actually, and ask ChatGPT to fix that too. So here is our error. I'm going to copy it. Exception in thread main in uncompatible code. It's actually a data type error maybe. Let's ask ChatGPT. I'm going to copy it and paste it there. Let's check what it gives us. So here is the updated version of the code. I'm going to copy it and paste it here so that we can see what is the result. Okay, now it's not generating any error. I'm going to run it and it should pass this hello.pdf file name and the text hello world, and it should be printed into a file called hello.pdf, and it should be generated here also. Let's run the program. Okay, it successfully generated it. Now let's check if it generated or not. Okay, the file is here. I'm going to open it and check if it's working. Yes, it printed hello world, the text which was written in here, and it successfully removed all the errors. So this was all about today's video. It showed you how you can debug your code using ChatGPT. If you have runtime errors or any building errors, you can just copy that error like I did and paste in ChatGPT. It will automatically detect all the errors and show you the fixes, also the updated version of the code. So now let's talk about how can you learn a new language with the help of ChatGPT. First of all, open ChatGPT and you have to copy the first prompt from the description which I have pasted there. So you have to just paste it. The prompt is about learning the French language. ChatGPT will act as a teacher, and you can turn ChatGPT into your own personal teacher with just one prompt. So you have to just paste this prompt and it will act like as a French teacher. Press enter and let's see what it gives us. So here's the result, guys. You can see that we can't understand this prompt because it is in French language. So for just testing this activity, we can just copy this prompt and paste it in Google. Translate from French to English, and then you have to just paste it. You have to select French from here, and in here you have to select English and just paste it. So it is right here. Of course, let's start with the simple questions. What did you do today? Tell me about your activities. So I'm going to just switch it so that my tags will be converted to French. So I'm going to answer this prompt like this. I played tennis today. You can just copy this text and paste it right here. ChatGPT will automatically explain it to you if you made a mistake or if it needs improvements. It will also automatically ask you a new question to continue the conversation. So I'm going to press enter and let's see what it gives us. So guys, here is the next result of ChatGPT. So now we are going to ask ChatGPT to translate this result into English language. So we have to just ask ChatGPT, explain the response in English, and press enter and let's see. So here's the English translation of that message. You can see right here, which ends with a question mark, and you can also see that there is also a question mark because it is the translation. If you also don't understand the answer, you can ask it to explain your mistake in your native language. We also can ask ChatGPT, explain my mistake in English, and then if there is any mistake, it will let you know. Press enter and let's see. So it says that your mistake was using the infinitive form of the verb jur instead of conjugating it correctly. So it explained it further. If you want ChatGPT to speak it in French, so you have to just copy it and then just paste it in right here where it says the French language. And then you have to just click on this button and then Google Speaker will speak it aloud so that you can hear it. Let's move forward towards our next part. In this part, we are going to talk about how can you convert your JavaScript code to Python using ChatGPT. I have now opened ChatGPT. So first of all, you should have some code of JavaScript so that you can convert that code to Python. So I have got you a code. I will give you this code and then you can just paste it right here. You can see that this code will get your prompt like we are doing right now, and then it will contact to the API and give you the result which ChatGPT will generate. So this code is in JavaScript right now. So what you have to do is to just type right here, translate this JavaScript code to Python code. I'm going to press enter and let's see. So here is the result of ChatGPT. It imported the same Python libraries corresponding to those JavaScript libraries which are right here, node fetch and fs. You can see that right here. Then it went to the function to send a prompt to the API and get response. So this is not organized actually. These are the comments right here, but ChatGPT generated it incorrectly. But these tags are actually comments, and this function is to save the data to the file. And for this function, it is the main function where we start the loop. As I said before, this code is actually take a prompt from you and then it will generate ChatGPT response right in front of you. It will print response from ChatGPT and also it will save that response of ChatGPT into a file. So now let's look forward to a new code which is YouTube title. This code is going to take some keywords from you and then it will send those keywords to YouTube API key. After that, it will generate the results of this. The result will be the YouTube titles corresponding to the keywords. It will print all those titles which you can also see by searching those on youtube.com. So now first copy this code and paste this code right here, and you have to do the same. Just copy the prompt and ask ChatGPT to translate this JavaScript to Python code. I'm going to press enter and let's see. So here is the Python code for the corresponding JavaScript code. First of all, it's going to connect with the API and then it's going to send those prompts to YouTube API, and then if nothing found, it will print no videos found for the search query. And this is the main function where everything is searched from. You can also ask ChatGPT to convert this Python code to JavaScript code, so you might get actually the same code, but it may differ from the original code. Let's copy this code and then ask ChatGPT to convert this now into a JavaScript code. I've copied it and let's do this in new chat. I'm going to do the same. Ask ChatGPT to translate this Python code to JavaScript code. Let's see. So here is the JavaScript code generated by ChatGPT. You can see that it is actually the same code. It might be different somewhere, but you can get the same code as well. You can see those print statements like no videos found for search query, which actually exists in the real code too. Also, you can see that the function names are also same and the method to contact with the API is also same. So in this way, you can ask ChatGPT to convert your code to any language, and ChatGPT will also add those libraries corresponding to that language. Like in this code, we can see that it uses import request, whereas in JavaScript it uses this library, and in the previous code we considered it uses request and JSON, whereas in the JavaScript code it uses node fetch and fs. So ChatGPT will automatically find the correct library available in that language. In this next part of this course, we are going to talk about how can you convert your code to specific Google style guidelines for JavaScript using ChatGPT. First of all, I'm going to tell you what are Google guidelines for JavaScript. So there are few here mentioned here. First is indentation with step note spaces, using camel case for functions and variable names, uppercase with underscore for constant names, and single quotes for string literals, using parentheses and for grouping, using this symbol instead of this one for equality, and using Latin cons instead of war, using comments for multiple lines, and using curly brackets for single blocks, and last one is using this syntax over this one. So first of all, I am going to show you a code which I have right here. This code is not following any of the Google guidelines except this one. It's using single guidelines, which I'm going to first of all make it wrong so ChatGPT can convert it. It's using var and not constant, and here too it's using this one for a wrong syntax which do not follow guidelines for JavaScript given by Google. So I'm going to copy this code and then paste it right here, and at the top I'm going to tell ChatGPT that this code is not following any of the guidelines. So here is the first prompt right here, and then at the end I'm going to type the guidelines given by Google. So I'm going to copy these two and paste it right here and tell ChatGPT that these are the guidelines which you have to follow for the correct version. So here is another text which is these are the 10 guidelines given by Google for JavaScript, and at the end I'm going to type again that you have to follow these 10 guidelines for a correct version. So I'm going to type here. So here's the last prompt which says follow the above 10 guidelines given by Google and rewrite the code. So let's see, I'm going to press enter and we are going to see the result generated by ChatGPT. So guys, let's see what is the result. ChatGPT generated the code here and also mentioned the changes it made to the code. First of all, let's see the first guideline which says indentation with the tabs, no the spaces. So our code was not following any indentation with tabs but following spaces randomly. So ChatGPT corrected also the first guideline. You can see that it's using the indentation with tabs. It's also using single quotes for string literals. Furthermore, it's using cons for instead of using var like here and here. You can also see that it's using camel case for function names and using equal signs for equality, and the last one is using camel case for variables too. We saw that it changes the name from capital letters to camel case for functions, and in here we can see that it changes for this too and for this one too. So here ChatGPT generated the accurate results. I would not say accurate because it's not using comments like the guideline says. So you can ask ChatGPT again to correct this thing, but these prompts will make it easier for you to generate the code again following the Google guidelines for JavaScript. Let's move forward towards the next part of this crash course of ChatGPT. In this part, we are going to talk about how can you generate Excel formulas with the help of ChatGPT. So suppose that I have an Excel file which is called a food sale data, and I'm going to apply formulas on this file using ChatGPT. So let's open ChatGPT here. I've already opened mine. So suppose if you want to sum the total price, I have a lot of cities. You can see that these are the number of these are the cities and there are a lot. So I'm going to see the sum of the total price here. So I'm going to sum this column. So you can see that there are 245 rows. So we have to note that I will ask ChatGPT to sum up the column from 1 to 245 rows. So let's ask ChatGPT. So here's the prompt. Generate Excel formula for summing up the column I from row 1 to 245. I'm going to press enter and let's see what we get. So ChatGPT generates this formula. I'm going to copy this and paste it right here and see what we get here. So this is the sum of the total I'm going to generate in this cell. So you have to just click on this and paste the formula here and press enter. So you can see that this is the sum we get of the total price. Now what if you want to take the average of the total price, or you can say that a unit price or maybe another number. So let's say I'm going to select this quantity column and then I'm going to ask ChatGPT to to calculate the average of the quantity. So let's ask ChatGPT to do this. I'm going to type here. So here's the prompt: generate formula for calculating average of column G from 1 to 245. So this is the column G, and I'm going to press enter and see what we get. So here's the formula ChatGPT generated. It uses average function to calculating the average of the column G. So in here I'm going to select this cell and just paste it right here and press enter. So you can see that this is the average of all the elements in the column of quantity. ChatGPT generated this using the formula of average. There is a function here which is called count in Excel. This function can count these number of cells which contains the numbers. So in here, if we want to count the number of cells of unit price, so let's ask ChatGPT to give us the formula for doing that. So here's the prompt: generate formula for generating number of counts in column H from row 1 to 245. So the unit price is the H column, and I'm going to press enter here, and let's see what we get here. Okay, ChatGPT generated the formula here, which is as I said before, it's the function of count. So I'm going to copy it, this function, this formula, and just paste it right here. It will give the count of all the elements here. So these are total 244 rows here, which contains numbers, because the first one is actually alphabetic row, which is called unit price. So it counted from row 2, and therefore it's 244. Okay, now what if you find the max value from unit price or total price? So there is the formula which is called max, and I'm going to ask ChatGPT to generate that. So this is the column I, and let's see what we get. So here's the prompt: generate formula for calculating max number in column I from row 1 to 245. Let's see what we get. I'm going to press enter. So here's the formula. I'm going to copy this formula, which is called max formula, and I'm going to just paste it right here and press enter. It will give the maximum value from the total price. So the maximum value from total price column is 817.92. You can see that this is huge, so I can't find it, but it is actually a correct one. So there is another formula which is also called min, and you can do the same. For example, you can copy this formula and just paste it right here, and you have to just change this function to min and press enter. So the minimum value is 33.6, and we can find it right here, but this one is actually correct. So there is a function which is called if. Using this function of if, you can perform logical test and get a written value. For example, if you want to know that how many number of quantities which are greater than 100, so you can ask ChatGPT to generate a formula for that. First of all, note that the column is G, and I'm going to ask ChatGPT. So here's a prompt: generate formula for if G column has value greater than 100. So it will just give us the formula, and let's see what we get. So here's the formula here, which is actually for G1, means it is only for row 1. So first of all, let's check for row, and then we will apply to the whole column. So this is for the row 1, but if we see that row 1 is actually a alphabetic one, so I'm going to change it to G2, which is actually row 2 in column G, which is 33. So I'm going to paste it right here. I'm going to correct it to G2, and then just press enter there. So I'm going to paste it right here, in here, and then paste it. So value is not greater than 100. So it returns value is not greater than 100 because it is 33. So now if we want to see in the whole column how many there are values which are greater than 100, so we have to generate a formula for that too. So let's see. I'm going to ask ChatGPT. So here's a prompt: generate formula for counting number of values if G column has value greater than 100. So I'm going to press enter, and let's see what we get. So this is the formula that we get. I'm going to copy it and just paste it right here, and it will return the number of elements which are greater than 100 in column 0. So I'm going to press enter. So there are 38 values which are greater than 100 in column G, which is called quantity. Let's see another function of Excel which is called concatenate, which merges two strings. So if we want to merge this Boston and cookies, this which is in the row 242 and column D and E. So I'm going to generate formula looking through ChatGPT. Let's see what we get. So here's the prompt, and let's see what we get. I'm going to copy this and just paste it right here. So if we see that, I'm going to paste it right here and just paste. So you can see that it merges the two strings in row 242, which is Boston and cookies, and the formula is D242 and E242. It is using the AND function, which is merging these two strings. You can also do this with another columns. You have to just give the column name and it should be a string. Okay, so there is another function in Excel which is called round off. We can round off these decimals to the value 1, which is like this 1.87, then it will become 1.8. So I will ask ChatGPT to generate a formula for this. Let's ask ChatGPT. So here's the prompt: generate formula for rounding of the decimal to 1 in column H. Note that this is the column H, which is called unit price. So I'm going to press enter and let's see what we get. So this is the response from ChatGPT. Let's try to use this formula. Select a cell and then just paste it right here. Okay, so we got an error which is like this. I think we have to use one by one. So I'm going to ask ChatGPT to just generate it for one cell. Let's ask ChatGPT to generate it. So here's again prompt is generate formula for rounding of the decimal to 1 in column H for row 2. I'm going to press enter and let's see what we get. So here's the formula ChatGPT generated. Now I'm going to copy this and then just paste it right here. So here's the value of the cell 2, which is above right here. So it rounded off to decimal 1. Now what you can do to apply this formula to whole column, you have to just like drag it and it will do this for all the rows. So there are 245 rows, so you can expand it to 245 rows and it will do the same for all the rows. Okay, so there is another function in Excel which is called SUMIF. Now if you want to sum the quantities, if you want to do it logically, like if the range is 214 to 221 and you want to just select this range and ask ChatGPT to generate a formula for this to sum if the value is greater than 30 or 40 in this range, then just sum it. So let's ask ChatGPT to do this. So here's the prompt: generate formula for summing up the values from 221 to 232 in column G if greater than 30. So note that the column G is called quantity and the range which I selected is 221 to 240. Sorry, 221 to 232. So it will select this range from 221 to 232 and check the values of the quantity, and if it is greater than 30 it will then just sum it, generates the result here. So let's copy the formula. First of all, generate it. I'm going to press enter and let's see what we get. So we have got the formula. Let's just copy it and paste it in this cell and select the cell and just paste it right here and press enter. So the sum of all the values which are greater than 30 from range 231 to 221 to 232 is 659. So you can select any other range too, and for other columns too, which should be a numeric value. For unit price too and total price too, you can select any range. In the next part of this course, we are going to talk about how can you generate Linux commands and bash scripts using ChatGPT. As you know that Linux has many commands for performing various operations on Linux which are very time saving. So I'm going to tell you some of them. First operation we can ask ChatGPT is that if you want to search for files and directories based on the various criteria, so what should be the command? You have to just ask ChatGPT, I am going to ask you some commands of Linux and you have to generate them. And the first command to generate is about, and then you have to just type what it is about. So I want to search for files and directories based on various criteria, and then you have to press enter and let's see what we get. So guys, here is the result. ChatGPT gave us multiple commands which are using find function. So just for searching file name, you have to just use this command, and if you want to be specific with extension, then you have to just tell the extension right here. You have to type the extension right here. And if you want to go for the size, means if you want to search for directories or files based on size, then you have to copy and paste these commands and notice that it has size written here. And lastly, if you want to search for files by modification time, then you have to just execute this command. Now if you want to search for specific text patterns in files, then what should be the command? So I'm going to ask ChatGPT to generate the command for that. I want to search for text patterns in files, and you have to type generate command for Linux and then press enter. Let's see. So guys, here is the result. ChatGPT generated. It uses grep function in Linux. So just if you want to search for a specific text pattern in the file, for example, if you just want to search pattern in a file, then you have to use grep, then the keyword, and then the path to the file. This is just a simple command, but if you go for some variation, then ChatGPT also generated that. So the first variation is about search for pattern regardless of case. So this is which is about regardless of case, and if you want to search recursively in a directory and its subdirectories, then go for it. And if you want to show line numbers for matching lines for the specific keyword, then copy and paste this code. Copy and paste this command, and you have. And what if you want to just search for whole words only? Then you have to use -w, then it will just search for whole words. Lastly, it has search for an inverted pattern, lines that do not match the pattern. It will search for an inverted pattern, means it is the opposite of the pattern, and lines that do not match the pattern. You have to just copy and paste this command. Now what if you want to check the IP of your Linux system? In Windows we can just type ipconfig, but what about Linux? So I'm going to ask ChatGPT, I want to check the IP address of the Linux system. Press enter and let's see what it gives us. So here's the result. We can use ifconfig for showing the IP address of the Linux system, or we can also use IP address show. This will also show you the IP address of the Linux system. And if you want to use the following command to retrieve only the IP address without any additional details using ifconfig, then you have to use this command. It will just show you the IP address, and maybe these two commands show you more additional details. That's why ChatGPT is saying that if you just want to retrieve the IP address without any additional details, then you have to just use this command. The next one is replace interface with a specific network interface you want to check, such as Ethernet 0 or WLAN 0. So it depends on your system. You have to check it first and then use it right here. You can also check your IP address by just using IP address show, and this will also do the same like this one. So let's move forward. What if you want to compress a file in a Linux? So what should be the command for it? Let's ask ChatGPT to generate the command for it. I want to archive files into a single file and have to compress it, and just press enter and let's see what it gives us. So guys, here is the result ChatGPT generated. It's saying that using tar and gzip, creating a .tar.gz file. So it will just generate a compressed files like we asked ChatGPT to do it. So it also gave us two options. You can use any one of them. Let's move forward towards another command. So the command which I'm going to talk about is about secure remote login and file transfer. So what you have to do if you want to just log into the remote server and transfer a file, then what should be the command? So you have to ask ChatGPT, I want to transfer a file using secure shell protocol, and you have to just press enter and let's see. So guys, here is the result. ChatGPT generated two files. The first one is for to copy a file from your local machine to a remote server, and this is for local machine, to copy a file from a remote server to your local machine. So you can just use any one of them depending on your needs. Let's move forward towards the next command. What if you want to download some file from internet? Let's ask ChatGPT if there is any way to download a file from internet, and is there any command for it. So I'm going to type, I want to download the files from the web, and just press enter and let's see. So guys, here is the result. ChatGPT generated two methods using wget and using curl. So the first one is very simple. You have to just type wget and the URL of the file means the location of the file, and using curl you have to just type curl -o and then the URL of the file. It will just download the file to your downloads location. So this was all about Linux commands, how to generate Linux command. Let's talk about the bash scripts. How can you generate the bash scripts? So the bash scripts can run on Linux easily. So I'm going to generate two bash scripts. The first one is about moving C files into C folder, and .jpg files into jpg folder, and .java files into Java folder. So what you have to do, just write here generate bash script for moving .c files into C folder, .jpg files into jpg folder, and .java files into Java folder. Press enter and let's see what it gives us. So guys, here is the result ChatGPT generated. This bash script will move the .c and .jpg, .java files into their respective folders. First it will create the directories, and then it will just find them and find those files and move there to their respective folders. Let's move forward towards the next bash script, which is about removing temporary files from Linux system which takes memory and are older than 30 days. Also create a log file which files are deleted. So this bash script will remove the temporary files which are consuming the space in the Linux system. So what you have to do is to just type generate bash script for removing temporary files from Linux system which takes memory and are older than 30 days. Also create a log file which files are deleted. You have to just press enter. Let's see what it gives us. Guys, here is the result. ChatGPT generated the bash script. This bash script will just remove the temporary files, and you will be able to remove the temporary files and save some space from your PC. You can see that if you don't have any knowledge about bash script, you have to just tell ChatGPT the purpose and your task, and ChatGPT will just generate it. You don't have to learn about bash script or anything else in order to remove something, or if you don't know the temporary directory to remove some files. So this was all about today's video. You have learned how to generate Linux commands and how to generate bash script based on the purpose and your aim. In this next part of this course, ChatGPT will act like the executing SQL queries. You have to paste this from the description of this video. This will create products, users, order and suppliers table. You have to press enter and then it should say please go ahead and type your queries. So first of all, add some value in products table. So you have to paste this prompt from the description of this video, which is insert into products, and you can see that the product name, price and quantity, which are right here. I'm going to press enter and let's see. So it added the values in the table with the product ID is equals to 1. Now let's add some user in the users table. We have to paste this prompt, which is insert into users, username and with its email. I'm going to press enter and it should add these values into the table. So you can see that it actually added the values right here. Now for the confirmation, if it added the values in the table, we can ask ChatGPT to retrieve the data too. For this, you have to just paste this query, which is select all from products. This asterisk shows that we are going to select all the products which exist in the products table. Now I'm going to press enter and let's see what it gives us. So it gives us new product which we added previously, and the name of the product, the ID, price and quantity. Now for retrieving the users, you can paste this query, select all from users, where user ID is equals to 1. So it should give us this John Doe with its email. I'm going to press enter and let's see. So as expected, it gives us John Doe and with its email. Now I want to update the price in the products table for the new product. So for this, we have to paste this query, which is update products and price is equals 12.99, which will increase the price from 10.99 to 12.99, and product ID is equals to 1. So it will find the product ID and just update the value in this table. I'm going to press enter and let's see. So it says query result and it updated the price from 10.99 to 12.99. Now let's try with this update user set email, which will update the email address of the John Doe with user ID is equals to 1. So it will find the user ID with the help of this where clause and update the email address for the John Doe. So here is a query result and it updated the email address. So these was all basic commands or queries of the SQL. Now let's move towards some advanced queries like this. Now what will this query do? It will select all the products from the products table which are supplied by ABC supplier. So now let's see what it gives us. So it says you have to provide some information for the suppliers, because you can see that we just added the values in the product table and the user and a user, but we didn't add any values in the suppliers table. Now I'm going to ask ChatGPT to do it with itself, because it can add the values randomly with itself. So here's the prompt: add some values by yourself in the suppliers table. I'm going to press enter and see. So here's the prompt: add some values by yourself in the suppliers table, and you can see yourself that it actually added some random values in the suppliers table. Furthermore, it executed the query which we gave earlier right here, which was about retrieve all products given by ABC supplier. So it just gave the new product which holds the product ID is equals to 1, and you can see that supplier ID is equals to 1. Now let's move another advanced query, which is about union. What it will do, it will select all products from the products table and all supplier names and give us a combined table of these values. Now I'm going to press enter and let's see what it gives us. So here's the query result and it gives us combined list of the products and the suppliers. So here's the product name and here's the supplier name and these are all the suppliers from third to fourth. Now what if you want to retrieve a list of orders with corresponding order and users? So for this you have to paste this query, select orders dot order id and users or username and so on. What it will do, it will just give you the order list with the products and user id, which is the corresponding to this order id. Now let's see, and I'm going to press enter. So it again said, to provide the query result, I need information about the structure and data in the orders. Now I'm going to do the same right here. Add some values by yourselves in the orders table. I'm going to paste it right here and just change it to orders and press enter. So here is the sample result. These are the user IDs, and this is the user table, and this is the product table, and this is the order table. And the query which we asked ChatGPT to execute is right here. It gives us the order list with a corresponding username, product name, and with its quantity. And this is the functionality of inner join in the SQL. You can learn about inner joins and more about SQL by searching on Google too, or by asking ChatGPT like I'm doing right now, and then execute the queries right here. If you don't know anything about the interface of PHPMyAdmin, or if you don't know anything like how to execute queries, ChatGPT will help you without any installation of anything, of any SQL server like Apache or XAMPP. But instead you can ask ChatGPT to do it, and it will give you the results accurately if you will provide the accurate information to ChatGPT. Now in this part of this code, we are going to learn how can you write a project proposal with the help of ChatGPT. If you are a software engineer or university student, you might have to write a project proposal for your project or for developing the software. So in today's video, I'm going to show you how do you write a proposal using ChatGPT. So first of all, if you have a project proposal template like I have, you have to copy this template, and then you have to just paste it here, and then just ask ChatGPT to write a proposal for your given template. You might have to give more information to ChatGPT so that it can write a great proposal. So in here I'm going to type write a proposal for a school management system with given existing fields and place them with the original proposal. Let's check what ChatGPT gives us. It's generating now. So far ChatGPT have gave us the answer, and it filled all the fields in the template according to our statement. You can see that we just wrote this statement and ChatGPT filled all the headings itself, and it assumes some requirements like project goals and functional goals and quality, organizational goals and other goals. We can also ask ChatGPT to extend these project goals and constraint etc. like this. So if I ask ChatGPT about quality goals, so I can type here for expanding the quality goals, which it gave like this. See what it gives us. So it has completed generating the response, and it gave us the more expanded version of the quality goals, like it gave us usability, accessibility and security etc. You can ask ChatGPT to expand more functions here like organization goals, so it will do the same like quality goals here. You can also ask ChatGPT to replace this statement with another system like existing work, so we can type here change the statement for the existing work. Let's see what it gives us. Here ChatGPT also replaces the whole statement for existing work, and it gives a detailed statement for the existing work. You can also ask ChatGPT to check your proposal template like this. I'm going to copy this and ask ChatGPT if there is any problem with this template. Let's see. Ask if it's something is missing in this project template. See what it gives us. So after this statement, the ChatGPT gave me this missing components of the project template. We can also include them in the project. In that way you can optimize your project proposal, and it might be helpful when you're writing a project template for anyone else and give you the more detailed structure of missing components like this. You can also ask ChatGPT to write stakeholder analysis and other headings to fill with this your school management system. Another feature you can expect from ChatGPT is that you can ask ChatGPT to write a project proposal template like this. For now I have this template, but if you don't have this template like this, you can ask ChatGPT to create a template for you. For a software developing company and a university student, it might be very helpful. So I'm going to ask ChatGPT to write a proposal template. Let's see what it gives us. So again, ChatGPT give us our answer and it created a project proposal template which you can fill for your project proposal and give it to your teacher or to your company which might be interested in. So far you have seen how ChatGPT can help you write a great project proposal or create a great project template for your assignments or university project or a software developing company. You can utilize these ChatGPT's function like this. You have to just give a project proposal template and your work is done. ChatGPT will give you an accurate template, also tells you the missing components of the proposal template to make your proposal great. Let's move forward towards the next part of this course. In this part, we will learn how can ChatGPT generate Git commands. First of all, open ChatGPT and you have to tell ChatGPT that it should act like a Git command generator, and I will give instructions to ChatGPT and it should generate the commands. So for this, we have to just type right here, I want you to act like a Git command generator. I'll explain to you what I need you to do and you will provide me with the right Git command. After that, you have to just tell that my first requirement is, for example, if you want to push the example.txt file, then you have to type right here, I want to push the example.txt file to the branch name example branch. After that, you have to just press enter and let's see what it gives us. So here's the result, guys. It generated the command git push origin example branch, and it says that this command will push the changes from your local repository to the remote repository named origin and specifically to the example branch. Make sure you are in the correct directory that contains the repository before executing this command. So you can just copy this command and execute this command and it will do exactly what you have asked ChatGPT to do it. Now let's move forward. If you want to perform various operations using Git with example.txt file, then I will show you some examples. First of all, if you want to see the file changes, if you want to check the changes you have made, then you have to just type I want to view the file changes and then you have to just press enter and let's see. So here's the result. It says in your case, if you want to view the changes made to the example.txt file, you would use git and diff example.txt. So for the changes made, you can just use this command and execute it. Let's move forward to the another instruction, which is about file history. What if you want to check the file history? Then you have to just ask ChatGPT to I want to view file history and just press enter and let's see. So in our case, we will use this command git log hyphen follow example.txt. So this command will display the commit history for the file, including the commit messages, author information, and timestamps. So you have to just copy this command and it will exactly do what you have asked ChatGPT to do it. Let's move forward to another instructions, which is about creating branches. What if you want to create a new branch? So you have to just ask ChatGPT to do it. You have to just type, I want to create a new branch. And you can just tell ChatGPT the branch name. The branch name is example dash branch and you have to just press enter and let's see what we get. So it says grid branch example dash branch and then it's generated more commands too. First of all, let's see this command. To create a new branch name example dash branch in Git, you can use the following command. So for creating a new branch, you can just use this command and paste it and execute it. So what if you want to just switch to the new branch? Then you have to just use this command, which is about. However, note that creating a branch only creates a branch pointer. It does not switch to the new branch automatically. So if you want to switch to the newly created branch, you can use the following command. So it will just automatically redirect you to the example branch after just creating it. And there is an alternate command which is about switching to the newly created branch after just creating it. So that means you can use one of them. Let's move forward to the next instruction, which is about switching branches. So what if you want to switch the branch? We have to ask ChatGPT, I want to switch the branch and just press enter. Let's see what we get. So it's the same command which we used before, which ChatGPT gave us before. It's like git checkout example branch. It will, in this case, after just creating the example branch, it will just automatically redirect you to this branch. But after this, if you want to just manually want to go to another branch, you have to use this command. It was for after just creating it, and it is for if you want to just manually want to redirect to another branch. Let's move over to the next instruction. What if you want to rename or move a file? So what you have to ask ChatGPT, I want to rename and move file and just press enter. Let's see what we get. So in this case, if you want to rename a file from old file.txt to new file.txt, you would use this command. And for moving a file, you can use this command, which is about if you want to move a file to a different directory while renaming it, you can specify the new directory path along with the new file. So if you want to just move the file while renaming it, you can use this command. So here's the original version of the command, and this is just like a template. Let's move forward to the next command. This was the very simple. Let's move towards deleting file. What you want to delete a file from Git. So you have to ask ChatGPT, I want to delete a file. Press enter. Let's see what we get. So for deleting a file, you can use this command git rm example.txt. It will obviously delete the file. To commit this deletion, you can use the following command. So if you want to commit the deletion, then you have to use this command too. Let's move forward the next instruction. What if you want to restore the previous version? So I have to ask ChatGPT. We have to just type I want to restore previous version and then press enter. Let's see. So here is the result. To restore a previous version of a file in Git, you can use the following command. So you have to just use this command if you want to restore a previous version of the file. To find the commit hash of the previous version you wish to restore, you can use git log command to view the commit history. Once you have identified the desired commit hash, you can use the git checkout command to restore the file, and you can use this command and you will exactly get what you have asked ChatGPT to do it. Let's move forward to another command. What if you want to view the file contents? So I have to ask ChatGPT, I want to view the file contents. Press enter and let's see what we get. So ChatGPT gave us multiple methods for viewing file contents of a file. We can use cat, we can use less, and we can use a text editor. So if you just want to go for simple view, you can just use this cat command. Let's move forward to the new instruction, which is about reverting file changes. So what if you want to revert the file changes? So you have to just ask ChatGPT, I want to revert the file changes. Press enter, let's see what we get. So if you want to revert the changes made to a file in Git, you can just use this command simply. And if you have already committed the changes and want to revert to a specific commit, you can use this command. So ChatGPT will do exactly what you have asked ChatGPT to do it. Let's see another instruction, which is about moving changes to a new branch. What if you have made changes to the example.txt file, but you want to move those changes to a new branch? Then you have to ask ChatGPT. Then ChatGPT will give you a command for exactly what you have asked ChatGPT. So you have to type, I want to move changes to a new branch. Press enter and let's see. So there are some steps for doing it. You have to first use this command git stash. Then you have to create a new branch, and after that you have to switch to that branch, which can be done by checkout. And finally you can apply the changes by git stash and apply. So this was all about today's videos. These are just a few examples of what you can do with example.txt file using Git and ChatGPT. Git provides a wide range of functionalities for version control and managing files within a repository. Furthermore, you can also ask ChatGPT to give you more commands like I did, and you can learn easily by just asking ChatGPT. So the last part of this course is about learning Python using ChatGPT. Let's see how can we do it. Open ChatGPT and tell ChatGPT to give the list of topics you want to learn for Python. Let's see what it gives us. So here is a list of topics ChatGPT given us. Now we are going to check it one by one. First of all, I'm going to see how we can learn this first topic. I'm going to ask ChatGPT to give me the sample code for this data types and variables topics, and also give me some explanation that I can understand more easily. Let's see what is going to be generated here. Here is the result ChatGPT given us. Here it showed all the data types used in Pythons like num1, num2, float, and string, boolean, etc. It also showed us the print statement so that we can check what is stored in the variables. Let's go with another topic. I'm going to ask for topic 5. I'm going to ask ChatGPT to give me the sample code for topic 5 and also give me some explanation so that I can understand easily. Let's check what is going to be generated here. So here is the result. It showed the examples for lists, tuples, and dictionaries. For lists, it created a list of fruits, and for tuples, it generated colors. It created a person dictionary with its name and age and gender. You can also see that it also showed you some functionality of lists, tuples, and dictionaries. For example, how to add elements in a tuple or list, or how to update elements in a list or dictionary. Here are other functions too for removing elements and for iterating through the list. It also showed you some other functionalities, for example, removing elements from a dictionary, or iterating through the list, or iterating through the dictionary. You can also see that it gives us the the example with explanation of list, tuples and dictionary. So in this way you can go for basic to advanced level of learning Python. There are other topics which are advanced like GUI programming, debugging and texting, data visualization and machine learning with Python. You have to just copy the topic name and ask for sample code with example like I did and polish your skills with ChatGPT. So if you like the video, click the like button and don't forget to click the bell icon so you will be notified when I publish the video. Thank you guys for watching.